Good afternoon, everyone. So self-defense, this is a very vast topic amongst many that we speak about in this channel, in this group. And I think it would be incomplete as prudent people and as some of us being identifying as preppers to not have a basic general understanding of personal self-defense. And if it's not within your interest to take up martial arts classes and spend a lot of money and time on this, then at the very least, it's a good idea to have a general understanding of how to protect yourself when you're out somewhere, when you're on the street. So I'm going to tell you the top few most important things, techniques, and things that happen or aspects about self-defense in this talk here so that you're better prepared if you're new to this subject. I personally have about 4 years of karate experience and 1 year of jiu-jitsu. So I have a few years under my belt, no pun intended. So some of the things that I've learned I'm going to mention in this talk here. So the first thing I'm going to start off with is, there's a saying that I think it goes, the best way to win a fight is to not fight at all or something, is to not start it in the first place. So you have to obviously stay alert as much as you can, right? Because the more aware and alert you are, the less likely something's going to go down. Attacks happen extremely fast, okay? Your time frame is in the seconds, not the minutes, or especially hours, usually. And if you're in an attack where it's lasting hours, you are in a extremely detrimental situation, because that's something like a kidnapping. So every second counts. You have to always be vigilant, watchful. And that's the primary practice of gnosis or dharma, is self-observation. This is part of mindfulness, right? If you're mindful, you're not just mindful of your breathing, your breath, or the birds chirping. You're mindful of everything. You have to be aware of everything that's happening, because if anything looks strange or suspicious, it's either that you see a really weird color in the sky and you realize you could be dreaming, or dead, which is even worse. At least it's good to be aware of this, right? Become aware of that. That's how you can have a better death. Or the next thing is that you're in a serious threat, and and just a second ago you didn't even realize because you were staring at your phone, just texting away and walking down the street. So stay alert. The mindfulness has to be continuous, moment to moment, 24/7. It does not stop. I've explained this before. It's exhausting to practice in mindfulness, but you get used to it after a couple weeks. It's the first practice. It's the most fundamental practice before anything else of being mindful and staying alert. So along with this, the next tip is to prepare for close quarters, because attacks tend to happen in secluded areas, of course. Criminals don't want to be spotted. They don't want to be seen, right? Sometimes there's a fight that goes down because people get aggravated, and in that case, it can happen right in the middle of the street. It can happen, people can get aggravated or triggered in a bar scenario somewhere. They could just be sitting at a bar. But what's worse is being in the washroom of that bar, where it's a really close quarters, it's a tight place. Or the classic alleyway, which are places you want to avoid, I should say. So when you're walking down the street, avoid alleyways, because they're one-way streets and they're tight, and a lot of them have dead ends, right? So if you're on a dead end and you're pinned against the wall, that's the worst place to be. The next thing is bad people tend to carry weapons. So train against weapons, against knife attacks, against guns, train for gun disarms, all of that. Another thing is, it's not always the case that an attacker or a robber is by themselves. Sometimes they're with people. A lot of the time they are, right? So train for multiple attackers. Now, another crucial thing about training for multiple attackers is this is just preparedness. You don't want to strive to take down multiple people. If you're up against more than one person, you should run. Okay, that's the most important thing, is to train against multiple attackers if you have to, but never attempt to fight more than one person, because as soon as there's another person, that is double the energy, double the endurance, double the strength, everything. They're twice as strong and enduring than you. So never fight more than one person. And the fighting is also a last resort. Maybe I should have mentioned this first, is that as soon as you see a threat, you want to try your best to, you want to de-escalate it, and you just want to keep your head down and stay away from out of trouble, right? You stay out of trouble. There's another tip related to this. When you pass a threshold where you feel very threatened, and there's a point where things are starting to unfold, if somebody's already pulled out a weapon, or they're trying to handle you physically, that's when you've passed this threshold where attack is already happening. In this case, the next tip is to actually escalate aggression, to not look weak in front of the persons, to intimidate them, to yell, to scream at them, to be aggressive. And perhaps I might do another talk on this, on how to not freeze in situations or look, like vulnerable. Okay, so on to the next tip. When you're in a situation, you're being attacked and you have to defend yourself, always strike the weakest places, the weakest areas. Because the best training, no matter how good you are, if you're up against a huge person and you're a small senior, or you're just a small person and there's a huge weight class difference, it often doesn't matter how good you are or how trained you are. Certain rules do not apply to certain people. But the one rule that always does is that people have weak spots. Everyone has the weak areas, right? And it doesn't matter how big somebody is. If you strike from the neck up, then you've got a very good chance at getting this person off your chest or off your back. So always strike the neck and anywhere on the face, sometimes the head, and sometimes the groin, and sometimes the sternum, which is just under the chest, that really soft, vulnerable spot under the chest, above the highest part of your belly. Most of us know what it feels like when someone accidentally shoves us in that area, or something hits us, a ball gets thrown at us just under the chest, and it's just, man, it doesn't take much to feel this really painful oomph that you get there, right? So that's a soft spot. And when you are striking, another thing I should have mentioned too is always carry your EDC utilities with you, your everyday carry with you. In America, you can carry a lot of weapons. You can carry a gun. You can carry knives. I never recommend that because of the consequences that killing someone causes. So, I suggest if you're in America, you can carry a non-lethal pistol. In Canada, you can't carry that around with you But you can carry your tactical pen, which can be used as a weapon or a self-defense weapon. You can carry a personal pry bar or a spy pry in this case. And you can use these, which are even better at striking the neck and the face. When you're striking the neck, you can go for a jab, a straight jab with your fingers together. You can go for a punch in the neck too. Those are all really effective. Sometimes the fingers are easier because the person doesn't have much of a neck. If they're a big guy, he has a lot of fat or muscle on him. He doesn't have much of a neck. They lose their neck, right? There are also eye gouges. You can do an eye strike like this, or if this person's really close up, you grab their face like this. You put your thumb under their chin. You just push your fingers into their eyes really firmly. There's some other strikes too. So mostly use your upper body, right? When you're punching, use your fists. Palm strike. Palm strike directly on the nose or upward toward the bridge of the nose or up into the nose shaft. Devastating strike. And it's very good for you too, because it doesn't break your knuckles. It doesn't hurt your knuckles when you do it. Other examples of the elbow, I just said it, the upper body strikes, are you're using your elbows. And you can use your knees too. And headbutting, when you're headbutting, you want to strike with the top of your head. It's not so much your forehead or not even the crease of that, but it's really the top of your head against the front of their face, their nose, typically. I don't really recommend kicking unless you know how to, because you need to be trained for this. There's a certain way to do it. You don't want to break your bones. You can easily break your shin or really hurt yourself kicking. So you have to do this properly. And the last tip is, when you're striking or using a non-lethal weapon, you have to keep doing it until the person's down, right? Don't just strike once and then wait for a response from them, some kind of reaction, because you're just giving them more seconds to come in on you again. So keep striking until they're down, until the threat is dramatically diminished, and then just get the heck out of there and maybe call the police. So that's my brief overview. I'll probably have some more talks on specific strikes, how to do them, and get into more detail about them. Other strikes like the forward blast. The forward blast, which is something that I guess Jet Li invented, but it's also a very effective strike that gets the person, that really creates some distance from you and them. It's similar to the palm strike, but more of a distractor. So there you have it. Stay safe, stay prepared. Sabe sata suki hontu.